What's up, everybody? Welcome to the KF Podcast. This is your Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage movie review. If you just found us on the interwebs, check us out. Google us at the KF Podcast. We'll show up on your favorite podcast catcher. We'll show up on your favorite social media application. YouTube, what's not, everything else. So, we're going to talk about, it's going to be a lot of spoilers.
This is a full-on spoiler review.
Yes. So,
spoilers!
There it is.
There we go.
Now it's a true spoiler review. No Dawn. Dawn didn't make it to the movie with us, so it's just Justin, Brock, myself, and Sir Lancelot's here. Lance.
Hey, it's movie night. Where else am I going to be?
There you go.
But so let's get into it. I don't think a lot of us had high. We didn't. The consensus of after we left the movie, not a lot of people seemed to enjoy this a whole lot.
It was not great. No.
So before we beat the shit out of it, I think visually, based on who did all the recent Venom or Carnage artwork? It's like Crane.
Yeah, Kane. I think.
Yeah.
It's like a painted look.
It's a painted look. I want to say that they really captured his look of the modern day Carnage in this movie.
No, hats off to the FX guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It looked cool.
Some of it looked gross.
Yes.
It looked gross.
A little too much tongue.
There's a lot of tongue. That's what you get with Venom and symbiotes, I guess. But, that's the one.
That was the one shining.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything else positive.
Some of the buddy cop back and forth was funny.
There were a few
For a
lines.
while.
There were a few lines. See, I actually was more annoyed by it in the beginning, and as it got through the film, like, there were some lines later on that I was like,
Well, that's it. Some of the fun stuff, but the conflict stuff was just
Slapstick.
forced.
oh, yeah.
Well,
Straight up slapstick.
so the whole point of the end of this movie is that they are. Their relationship is like they're together, so that's why they win the fight. But nowhere during the movie did I ever feel like they were actually,
Right.
you know, connected or
Symbiotic.
symbiotic. Like my thought of classic Venom is like him and Amazing Spider-Man. It's like everything's we.
Right.
It's not like me and Venom and this and that. It's like we are Venom, we are Eddie Brock, and it's like always talking in this weird. I don't want to say third person, but it's like
No, it is. It's like second person where it's us.
Yeah, and so all of it. Yeah,
Well, it is third.
and I didn't get that in any of this. Like I didn't feel like it just.
No, up until they had to finally make the decision to be together,
Yeah.
it was us. It was me versus you.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost like the person who wrote this never really understood that part
Yeah.
of Venom.
But now, do you get that without having the trials of going through Peter Parker? Like, how do you write that into the story? Like, I didn't watch the first one. I saw a synopsis of it. So, like, you'd think that after all that happened in the first movie, they'd be like, all right, we've now bonded. We can do things together. But they still play off this, like, screw-up role that was in the first movie, it seems like, into this one. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like, okay, in Bad Boys, you know, they're a really good pair, right?
Yeah.
But they always have these little Achilles heels things that tend to be like the plot of the movie.
yeah.
And they almost amplified it here, and it was just annoying.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and it seemed to me that they kind of took a step backwards from the end of the first movie.
Yeah, they
From
did.
the end of the first movie, I thought that they were kind of like a team. Mm-hmm. And then at the beginning of this one, they hate each other again.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it's the time frame of, you know, them living together, but
He won't let him meet anybody.
yeah, he won't let him meet anybody.
I mean,
Which is annoying. Like, I understand he's not supposed to eat anybody, but I don't think really nothing in that movie makes me think that Eddie Brock has a moral compass that he shouldn't be eating people.
Exactly.
Right.
He's just like, that's just a rule that he says that he has to
When
go
did
by.
they add that to Venom's mythos?
Well, where he eats brains?
Yeah.
I don't remember that either. And it might be something recently, but like, for instance, like when Carnage eats that one guy's brain, he's like, power up. I'm like, so that, like, I don't get that at all either. Like, so you got stronger. Like, I don't eat spinach and fucking Popeye. Like, it's not how you eat. That's not how you consume things. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So I had some issues with that.
My biggest issues were the convenient tentacle.
Oh my god!
I asked Ken. I said, "Is this worse than vibranium anal beads?"
It was because Venom's fucking on convenient bland Google. It says search on interweb nonsense on the web, and he's typing it out. But Carnage just gets to fucking finger bang his computer and upload information.
And pages just materialize.
Oh yeah.
Like there's
that's worse than someone just pounding like a hacker. Like, oh, I got past the firewall. I'm into the mainframe. Like he just put his fingers in the USB plug.
Well, and the worst part is, okay, Carnage is supposed to be Venom's kid, right?
Yeah.
Venom says, I have all of this knowledge, and you're still doing this when you're a kid. Actually, it was just stupid.
And they it's what really effed up a lot of the plot convenience in the movie is the end whenever Venom says, I have the knowledge of all the symbionts for all these years because they have a hive mind. I'm like, well, okay, so you didn't know how to hack with finger things. Like you didn't know what was something else that he like conveniently I knew it in the car, but I forgot on the drive over here. But there was a lot of like plot convenience. He was just like, oh, like how do you not know how he spawned? Like, is that how you spawn other symbionts? Is just biting them and then they can turn into like more? Because if he was trying to split, he should have known how it feels, and like been like, hey, I'm about to fucking split into another symbiote. Like Warren Eddie, like that's like all this. This just makes no sense.
Well, and the fact that every enemy Venom has fought between the first movie and then Carnage in this movie seems to have all that knowledge, and Venom is just a fucking idiot.
Yeah. But he has all the knowledge, but he's hiding it from Eddie for some reason. Now, I understand that the human brain can't handle all that information at once, but that doesn't mean that Venom doesn't possess it.
Exactly.
Right. And he can be like, hey, this is happening. Actually, I would be better off knowing that the hive mind gives Venom knowledge about things as a plot convenience than fucking finger banging a computer to get information. Yeah. Like that makes sense to me. That the tentacle reading internet does not.
Correct.
And then also, where did Cletus's body go when Venom Carnage split in half sometimes to avoid bullets or like you know, it's like his whole chest cavity disappeared. I'm like, okay, you did it once early in the movie and I let you get away with it, but like the second time the exact same animation for whatever they were trying to do happened again. Where's his body in that? Like he's still intact.
I think the body's being destroyed, and that's why they're playing up the healing.
Well, that's what I was thinking. But I mean, at that point, wouldn't Cletus still feel pain? Because I mean, Eddie Brock still felt pain.
Yes. The only time you saw Cletus was whenever Shriek got beat up by Carnage, which made no sense to me whatsoever. Just because she could scream and make things loud all the time.
How did she get her powers?
Well, she was a mutant.
They very much said, they pretty much introduced her as a mutant, which I think she is in the comic.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I'll look it up while we're talking.
Okay. So,
I mean, the only bright part of this movie, was, I hate to say it, was Cletus Cassidy.
They tried to redeem him, though.
They did.
Oh, because he was abused as a child. Mm-hmm. I couldn't stand what's his name as Cletus. I felt like he was like, to me, I remember Cletus as kind of more weak and sniveling and like, you know, I'm trying to think of the kind of serial killer where he was like a coward essentially,
right?
Because he had to hide and kill people in secret and like, you know, abduct women. I think was the kind of his shtick too. It was like very Boston Strangler-esque, where he couldn't like. That's how he felt powerful, is by being a serial killer in secret. But now they had the power, he could like show it off and like have a bravado with it. Where this is like he just had that all the time. As Cletus Cassidy, and Carnage was more of a, you know, it really wasn't anything. It just got him out of jail and tried to kill Venom for some reason.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Woody Harrelson's character in Natural Born Killers.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. Which is probably all he played. I mean, if you already played it and you know how to act that way and you just made a ton of money, then fuck it, just go into the well. But
yeah,
she became a mutant after traveling through the Dark Force dimension when Cloak tried to rescue her after getting shot by the police officer.
Okay. Was that in Maximum Carnage?
I'm not sure. I think so.
Okay. which makes a little more sense other than her just being some kind of love interest. The wedding thing I thought was dumb.
Yeah. And I never really figured out why that church was special. Why?
Yeah.
I think it was just because it was a cathedral.
Yeah. On the hill that was conveniently being worked on at the time, but had a father still hanging out there.
Yeah.
They could have picked him up along the way.
Had to find a father and all this.
And I'm not quite sure that most cathedrals have sarcophagi to like conveniently put people in.
Well, I'm sure he just lifted out or whatever. It was more, like just convenience of whatnot. So, I guess, do we want to get plot by plot, or are we just going to blow the whole thing up here? Like, we're just kind of going.
We can just kind of blow the whole thing up.
All right, so, and then I don't understand how Venom and Eddie Brock are fine together, but when Venom's in other host bodies, he burns them out.
They did talk about that a little bit in the first one as part of the origin story.
Okay.
There was something about Eddie's physiology that just
Meshed with Venom.
It
was
meshed
in tune,
with the
yeah.
symbiote.
Okay.
And they did, and that was a plot convenience for the first movie. Was some people could accept the symbiotes and work with them, and some couldn't. And Eddie just happened to be a match.
Makes their whole relationship unimportant. Like, it takes away all of the special, the commonality of the common, goal. Like, that's what I didn't like about when they didn't have Spider-Man be a part of this. Like, and I'm sure I could talk about this all day, but having a common enemy is what made Venom good. And then, all the other stuff where he wants to be good and all that other shit, if you don't have that basis of that, I don't really see how the character has got proper development.
It really hasn't.
Yeah.
So my annoying thing: why doesn't Venom use the webs? Why is he just climbing on, or
Because he never had Spider-Man.
That's the only thing I can agree with. If he's never been with Spider-Man, he might not ever know how to do the webs.
That's true.
But Carnage
All right.
seemed to know how to use them pretty well.
Well, Carnage kind of always did that tendril situation.
Okay.
And Venom, I guess, has done that in the past, but I always thought that Venom or Carnage was cool because he made moving parts, buzzsaws and axes, because it was all shit that he killed people with.
Right.
And they kind of got away with that in this too. It's just all tendrils and choking and some sharp points. But he has that big buzzsaw. He has a big all his they kind of get into the fact very much like Green Lanterns. When they make their constructor based on things that they understand and know and are familiar with, that's kind of what I got with Venom and Carnage and Toxin. And the other ones is Carnage knew killing people with stabbing weapons. So everything that he made was axes and knives and buzzsaws and all this other maiming stuff. Where the Venom symbiote was part of Spider-Man, so he was oh, Don Biordi shows up here with a little hip swing.
Boo.
So he knows web slingers and the Spider-Man logo on his chest and all this other stuff. That's why you get away from this. Because now without that differentiation, everything is just tendrils and bullshit and big eyes and teeth.
Because Riot already did all the blades and stuff in the first movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Riot was basically
Carnage. So then why do you care about this? Because the cool factor of Carnage was he was the first. That's what made him cool. And Maximum Carnage was oh shit, Venom split. There's another one. And then they started going into all this symbiote nonsense. It's not cool now. Everything that made all of this cool, you done fucked up. So what's the point?
I agree.
So I sat there and just scoffed. I had my what's up hands. Palms up in the air. What's all this? And that's how I felt this entire movie.
What's up, hands?
What's up, hands?
Yeah, I didn't care for the weird back and forth between Eddie and Venom in the first movie, and I didn't care for it in this movie. There were some funny lines here or there. For me, the last 10 minutes of this movie was decent. But other than that, I was not impressed.
Something I always thought was cool in the comics that did not translate well into the movie was when Venom takes his face off and talks to himself. I was oh, that would...
Came out of his bag.
Yeah, it just came out. And also, too, the one thing I always liked, too, is the symbiote was his clothes. Now it's just the symbiote comes through his clothes and it's whatever. And But whenever he's like sitting on the beach at the end talking to himself, I'm like, all right, this is dumb. Like, like.
Well, then he's got the Venom feet out.
Yes, like.
My toes in the sand.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, there's some stuff that I'm just like, all right, that is dumb. Like, there's some things that just don't translate into live action. And then, like, because it's also, like, feet away from him. Like, it doesn't, like, come up and, like, naturally.
No,
like,
it's
minimalized. Like, everything's exaggerated. And 3 feet up in the air to come down and talk to your face. I'm like, fuck. It's just.
But in their defense, I mean, in the comics, they did it with typography, right? Because it's a different font when you. we can
exactly.
See. So I could see that that's the only way that they could visually do that.
And I totally get it, and I think you have to try. But it was just watching it, I'm like, this just doesn't. I don't like it.
No, I get it.
Yeah. So that's just me. But
all right.
I feel like I've been hogging up this hole.
It's okay.
That's all right. Any other comments before we?
We gotta spoil the.
We gotta spoil the mid credit.
Yeah,
I already read about it. I know what happened.
Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Dawn is back.
So, what'd you guys think of this movie?
It was the drizzling shit.
Was it as bad as the first one?
It was worse.
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 How bad was Carnage? Did he look just like Riot?
Different color, but
The only good thing was the visuals in this movie.
yeah.
From what I read from other people, were like they said it just went so fast. There really wasn't all that much action, and it really wasn't all that exciting.
It just doesn't make any. It doesn't matter. Like this whole movie just doesn't fucking matter.
Does he kill Carnage at the end?
Yeah. Yeah.
He kills Cletus Cassidy. At the
He
end.
eats his head. He goes, "Fuck this guy," and eats his head.
So that's it. Carnage is gone.
Yeah. Well, we're about to.
We're about to spoil the shit out of
They set up another one though.
Oh, they did. They
Okay.
did. So the police officer had weird eyes and said monster.
Right.
And it's the guy that plays the cop is Toxin, so he might have a symbiote.
God.
But that doesn't even matter because at the end of the movie, fucking Venom's trying to show Eddie Brock what 1% of the knowledge of the hive mind, and then all of a sudden he just shows up in fucking Spider-Man time.
Well, there's a weird Venom says like, "Here, I'm going to give you this."
Yeah.
And like all of a sudden the screen kind of flickers.
What's he give him? He gives him
1% of the hive mind
the
knowledge.
symbiote hive mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But Venom didn't use any of that symbiote hive mind knowledge in any of the two movies.
Shriek in this movie too.
Oh yeah, she was
She
bad.
terrible.
She was a mutant. They said mutant.
They said mutant.
Yeah, man, was locked up for years, but she knew how to drive.
She did.
She knew how to do
did.
fucking.
Did they do like Maximum Carnage?
No, they were just going to get married. That's all they wanted to do.
No, they said maximum carnage.
They did, but they said every fucking.
And he-
Lethal Protector.
They said, "Oh my God, lethal protector was shoved up my asshole." It must have been every 5 minutes. They said, "We're the lethal protectors."
Over and over.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only thing they didn't say was, "We're the spirits of vengeance."
So the last scene, he's watching a news broadcast, and it's the Far From Home.
Yeah.
Yes. But he gets the time shift happens and he ends up there.
So they show you like reality shift.
Yes.
Yeah.
It like
he's
all
up in a different
shakes.
room and everything.
He's in a different room. He's in a shitty hotel on the beach, and then when it shakes, he comes back. He's in a real nice hotel, and it's someone else's hotel.
So it was like whatever happened in Doctor Strange.
That's
Yeah.
what we
It looked like the
speculate.
same effect whenever
Yeah.
from the trailer. From
Yeah.
that.
It's almost like the previous 90 minutes was a commercial for.
Yeah.
So now he's in the
For
MCU.
Spider-Man.
He's in the MCU licking the television because he sees
And he said he
Peter's
looks a little
face.
tasty or something like
Yeah.
that. Is what I read.
He says he's like, "I've got a boner for Peter Parker," and licks the screen.
So now he's going to be in one of the Spider-Man movies.
He might be in this new one.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason why he isn't.
Doesn't Tom Hardy suck as Venom, as Eddie Brock too?
I just don't get the point of it. Like, I always thought like Eddie Brock was confident and angry and like strong and mean, like, and he's just like a fucking bumbling.
So it's kind of the same. Like he was an idiot in the first movie, but he's an idiot.
It's identical. It's,
Yeah.
it's the same
Well,
basic
he
movie.
does
Running around.
he does do
He's
some
not as
reporter
big of an
stuff.
idiot this time around. It's more Venom's the idiot this time.
Yeah,
Venom was like a big child in the 1st movie. It's
He's
such a-
even worse this time
so
around.
stupid and childish and dumb.
Well, but Venom is the one who actually like notices all the clues and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look over here.
it's a weird dichotomy.
Yeah.
Did they mention the symbiote god or any of that stuff?
No.
I was waiting for that.
I was waiting for a reference to
Well,
no.
I was wondering if they were going to do the shift, and I thought maybe they were going to be like, because they started talking about space and all this like information. I'm like, excuse me, and maybe they'll
so classic.
maybe they'll go like
no.
the space route and like start going into that, and then maybe meets Guardians of the Galaxy, something like that. But no, it's just fucking licking televisions
Wow.
because the Spider-Man's on
Was
it.
there 2 scenes or just the one?
Just the one.
This one, we stayed to the bitter end.
We did.
Sounds like I didn't miss much.
No.
The post-credit scene was worth it.
Yeah, that was it. Like, just watch it for...
You know, I could tell people didn't like this because, like, every major TikToker that does comics have talked about this.
What did Soup say?
Well, Soup's reaction to it was, like, because they get to go to these movies for free. So they're trying not to shit on it so that Sony doesn't go, hey, no more for you. So they're like, what a exciting rush, really quick, and not as long as I thought, not as much action. Kind of let down at the end, but fun, good times. And wow, what a post-credit scene. And I type in there, I'm like, you fucking hated this movie, didn't you? Just admit it. Sony won't get rid of you. You know you hated this movie.
There's so much that just... You missed the part where we fucking beat up the fact that Carnage just puts his finger in a USB plug and just fucking hacks the internet.
Hacks into a government research facility.
He just finger bangs the computer and gets the information he needs.
Was he awful, Woody Harrelson? As
I hated him. I
didn't like him.
I didn't mind him, but Lance brought up earlier, he played the character that he played in Natural Born Killers.
Oh, okay.
With an alpaca haircut.
He did have
he did have an alpaca haircut.
Also, it in every week now. He get it in every week.
Carnage also has automotive key hands. Just put his hand in the ignition.
That I could get behind.
No, what did he have to do to actually beat Carnage? Because
he just had to
nothing. He just he didn't have to do anything.
So they just had like a big fight.
No, he waited for Shriek to actually.
Oh yeah, Shriek beat Carnage because Shriek yelled. And Carnage was mad at her the first time and he said, you do that again.
So she was yelling
and
not shooting.
Yes, it was like Banshee-esque.
Yeah, she was Black Canary. Which instead of her sonic vibrations out of her hands or whatever.
I forgot that they were out of her hands. Yeah, they were. It was mouth screams.
She also had mind control powers in the comics too, didn't she?
I don't remember mind control powers.
Like she could make people relive their darkest moment or something like that. Wasn't that part of it?
I was hoping Demo Goblin was in it.
No, not cool enough. They didn't get to that part of the Infinity Gauntlet.
This sounds like it sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just basically, I don't think anyone read the original source material. They just read, like, the newest...
Carnage looks cool. Let's do Carnage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they just read whatever... And also, too, like, I don't know.
This is a comic movie by committee.
Yeah.
By a committee who doesn't read comics.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like, that looks cool.
This is why Sony needs Marvel, because they can't keep making this shit without getting Spider-Man in there.
Well, is that... Now, the Morbius movie comes out. Do we just assume that it's going to get sucked into this, too?
Yeah, I mean, if Vulture's in it, and he was in the trailer, then I assume that that movie takes place in the MCU. Because how's Vulture in it? I mean, that's
right.
That's Marvel Vulture. He's in the trailer, which was a year and a half ago. He's in the trailer, so I would assume that movie is MCU-esque.
Are we sure Sony didn't steal some Warner Brother executives for this?
I heard the other day that Sony, after the Spider-Man movie, is still planning on doing a Sinister Six movie with their own versions, not like Sam Raimi versions of the Sinister Six like they're doing for the new Spider-Man movie. So like with Michael Keaton Vulture and Mysterio and Venom. And, like, they're going to do Kraven with
How's Mysterio in it?
Apparently he's not dead. I don't know. I mean,
multiverse.
Multiverse.
Plot convenience.
So they want to do their own. Sony needs to lose these rights, but, we can talk about that on the weekend review about all that debacle.
All right. I think we've beat the shit out of this movie enough. Let's give our reviews. Ken.
I'm fluctuating between 1.5 and 2. I think I'm going to go 1.5.
I was also going to go with 1.5.
1.5 for me.
1.5 for me.
I'll give it 1 star, even though I didn't see it.
For the post-credit scene?
Then I won't see it.
You don't need to.
You should go see it.
I'll see it when it comes out on demand somewhere. I'm not going to go to the theater for this thing. I already threw away 2 tickets on it.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Because someone didn't show up. But there you go.
Scott Hall Spooky Fingers to end the show.
All right, takes out.
All right, everyone, please like, share, subscribe, like, tell your friends, fuck your mother, and talk to you later. Have a good night.